Happy New Year, Common Ground. We're poised at kind of a special moment right now. In my elementary school, the best job of the school was at the end of the day, if you were really good, they gave you a wet sponge and you got to clean off the blackboard. It not only erased all of the work that you'd done all day, but it created a blank slate. And isn't that where we are right now? 2011 is a blank slate. And all of us have the opportunity to write a new whole year's worth of life. I believe that when they say that we were made in the image of the Creator, what they really mean by that is that we were given the ability to create life, our life. Today, second day of 2011, I'll focus on one of the things you get to create, a year. So if we have that amazing creative power, why don't our lives look perfect? Why don't we get to create exactly the life that we want? Well, in the last 2 years, I've been studying something called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And I have a part of the answer that I want to share with you that will help you to create exactly the year that you want coming up. Essentially, what neuro-linguistic programming is about, neuro is brain, and linguistic means language. And the problem is that this creative power that we have goes through our brain and gets translated into language. And if you don't do that really carefully, you accidentally will create. Now, it is your creative power, but you accidentally will create a life other than the one that you thought you were creating. I want to share this joke with you. This was my favorite joke when I was 5. It has a lot more meaning to me now, and it's actually the message that I want to communicate to you. In this joke, this boy is walking along the beach, and he's looking through all the stuff that the high tide has washed up, all the seaweed and shells. And in among the seaweed, he noticed there's a lantern. It's beat up, and it's tarnished, and it's rusty, and he picks it up, and he's curious about it. It's kind of a golden color, and so he rubs it in order to see what color it really is, and a puff of smoke comes out of it. There's a clap of lightning, and a huge genie appears. And the genie says, "Your wish is my command." The first thing I want to say is I believe in this genie, and I believe that we each have one, and he is sitting on your shoulder all the time. And your wish is his command. Every single thing you wish for, whether you want it or not, comes true. Well, the boy says, "Okay, make me a milkshake." And the genie says, "Your wish is my command." And poof, he turns the boy into a milkshake. And that's exactly what all of you did last year. You have to be really careful how you talk to this genie. The universe is very, very literal. And as I said, the problem is we're using this tiny, tiny little brain. I mean, beautiful thing that it is. It does our taxes and all that stuff. But it's still a tiny little thing. It's not powerful enough to even access reality. And I'm going to prove that to you in 5 seconds. So those of you that are willing to do this little experiment with me, I'd like you to stand up. Anybody wants to try this? And I'd like you to face forward. And this is the assignment I'm going to give you. When I say go, I want you to turn completely around 180 degrees and look behind you. And what I want you to do is to find 3 things which are brown. Don't make it hard on yourself. Any color brown works. Anything you think is brown is brown. And I want you to record in your mind everything you can about those 3 brown things, because at the end of the 5 seconds, I'm going to say stop, and you're going to turn back around and sit down. And then I'm going to have some volunteer describe to me 3 of the things that they saw in enough detail so that without them pointing to it or even looking back, I will be able to find them. I'll be able to figure out what 3 things you looked at. Ready? Go. Turn around, 1001, 1002. Find three things, 1003, 1004. Get as much detail as you can, 1005, and stop. Turn back around and sit down. Okay. Now I'm going to ask a volunteer, will somebody tell me three things you saw that were blue? Okay, blue is a little subtle. How about red? Three things behind you that were red. Bright yellow. You can't, can you? And the reason you can't is because of the question that I asked, which is exactly how we limit our mind and our creative ability. I mean, I don't think there's anybody here who thinks there was no red behind you, or any blue, or any yellow. It was there, and you were looking at it, and yet you deleted them because of what I asked you. And that's exactly how you limit yourself. That's how you limited yourself last year, and it's how you will limit yourself this year. Think of this 2011. Let's say that the question you want to ask yourself is a brown question like this. Why can't I find someone to love me? And if you spend all of 2011 asking that question over and over again, you will keep finding someone not to love you. And if someone who does want to love you comes walking right at you with a big smile on her face and wearing red, you won't even see her, much less let her in your life. So what I want you to know about your creative power is it is both limited and aimed by the questions that you ask, so be careful what questions you ask. Now, there's two other things I want to teach you that NLP taught me. One of them is this. There are basically two forces in your universe that drive you. One of them is pain. You move away from that. And the other one is pleasure. You move towards that. And what you want to do, actually, is have pain in your past and pleasure in your future. And you need both in order to move forward in life. People who stop smoking don't stop smoking just because they realize how great it would be to be healthy. Everybody who smokes knows how great it would be to be healthy. The thing that actually starts people off on quitting smoking is deciding it's too painful to keep smoking. And that motivates you to turn forward. And then you ask the right question going forward. That motivates you towards pleasure. And using pain and pleasure in exactly the right places is how you create change in your life. Now, think back to 2010 and find something in your life that you wished you had done differently. Now, that's the pain, and we want to change that. Here's the thing you have to be careful of. Let's take heartbreak, because a lot of people make this mistake. Let's say that I had heartbreak last year. And I say to myself, wow, that was really painful. I really enjoyed being with her, and now I'm not with her, and it's really painful. Now that's good. That's motivating me away from that. I'm not going to be having that again. But if I speak to myself this way, so I'm never going to experience that again. I now have taken pain from my past, and with that sentence, I've put it in my future. I'm never going to experience that again. Now here comes that woman in the red dress, and as she approaches, I start to feel more and more of the pain that, uh-oh, I'm going to experience that again, and I give her a pass. So it's very important that you keep pain in the past, and you put pleasure in front of you. Now, how do you control that? The problem with most people is you make the mistake of believing that your mood, that the way you feel when you check in with yourself is reality. That that's a thing that you don't have any control over, and actually that's one of the things that you create. Let's do that right now. Think about the thing that happened last year that you would like to have done differently. And look down with your eyes. Bend your head down. Make your shoulders go down. Let your arms hang heavy and down, and feel your legs down and useless. Let your posture curve a little. And what you're probably noticing is that you're feeling down. That actually, depression is a feedback loop that you can add to. It's not what you think that's important, it's what you feel that causes manifestation. Music is one of the ways that you can change the way you feel. So add this sense of discomfort that this music brings up in me to the downward look and downward feel, and associate it with that thing that you did last year that you don't want to do again. And now you have the trigger to not go backwards. Feel the feelings and think about the thought. Feel the feelings and think about the thought. Feel the feelings and think about the thought, and now you've created a trigger so that whenever you think about that situation, you will be moved to move away from it. Okay, well, depression is not that hard a one to simulate. But maybe it's New Year's Eve and you wanted to go out, you had some plans to go out, but you checked inside your body and your mood said, I'm tired. And so you went, oh, I guess I can't go out. My mood tells me I'm tired. We just created depression. You can also create excitement and positivity. And the way you do it is like this. Think about what you would like instead of what happened last year in 2010. Think about what you would like in 2011 instead. Give yourself a moment to really envision it. And then make it bigger. Make it too big. Make it ridiculously big. Don't be realistic. This is a friggin' genie. Don't crimp his style. You are not on a budget when it comes to vision. Okay, so get a picture of what you want and make it even 10 times bigger than that. Imagine it filling the blank slate of 2011. Imagine it growing. You're planting a seed right now, and by the end of 2011, it's completely bearing fruit. And with your eyes, look up. And with the corners of your mouth, bring them up. And with your posture, bring it up. And breathe into it. And let yourself imagine yourself being there. And let me tell you something about this low energy place. One of the things that you can do to change the energy that you're feeling is to move your body and your arms in short, fast bursts. You can stand up and change your energy. You could do this in your house. You could be alone, and you can put some music on, and you can, before you check your mood about whether it's time to start writing your book, or go out to that singles bar and meet that person, or do that meeting with somebody, before you check into your body to find out whether your mood agrees with you, change your mood. Put on some music. Stand up. Try that now. And move your body in a way that your body would move if you already had that thing. How would you feel if you had your $1 million, the girl in the red dress? And what you'll notice is the very thing that changes your mood is the same thing that we do when we dance. You can control the mood for the next entire year by just doing this. And what you're doing right now is you're telling the genie what it is that you want. You're thinking about it. You're envisioning it. You're feeling it in your body. And you are feeling it in your feelings. And that is how you have a Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Common Ground.